G'day, guys. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Australia. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really don't care because this stuff is crazy. Can we move on already? All week, all week, there's been storylines surrounding this team, and every single storyline does not involve talking about the win over the Bucks or the big matchup that is going to happen versus the Dolphins in about 4 days, 5 days' time. We've had so far. And I'm going to go through these in detail with my thoughts on them and just to move past them because you got to talk about it and then move on. But they've been taking up the airspace. The Steelers media and fans have been talking about this stuff rather than the spectacular game over Tom Brady. The Steelers beat Tom Brady and it was fantastic. But we're more worried about the quarterback controversy, right? I'll go into that for a minute. Matt Canada and apparently Chris Boswell calling out Matt Canada, which I think is a non-story. And lastly, the DJ and Mitchell Trubisky fight in the locker room, which I also think is a non-story. But let me start with the quarterback controversy. We all know by now that Mike Tomlin has made a choice and said Kenny Pickett will be the starter. If he's healthy, 100% he will be the starter. And he's going through the concussion protocols. He's actually practicing today too. He's out there practicing. He will be the starter. There is no quarterback 1 and 2 possibility of changing from Mitchell Trubisky to go from 2 to 1. There's no chance that Trubisky at this point in time will become quarterback number 1. So that needs to pretty much stop. And we've got to start to cheer and support Kenny Pickett at this time and see what he can do versus in a big game, Kenny versus Tua. It's going to be huge. So that to me is like 3 or 4 days now. We've been talking about quarterback controversy. There is no controversy because there's no story there. The Steelers media makes that drama up and they go crazy about that. The next one, I did see the video, was apparently Chris Boswell, the wizard, the old Wizard of Boz, calling out Matt Canada. Now, it's really hard to see in that video and also to hear what actually happens. Matt Canada walks past, he hugs one of his coaches or something like that, one of his players, and then Chris Boswell yells out, "We didn't win because of you." He could be yelling at anyone. Is he yelling at Matt Canada? Maybe. Let's say if he is. Even if he is yelling at Matt Canada, does it really matter? We all know that Matt Canada stinks. To me, it's still a non-story. If one of your players is calling you out, so be it. I'm kind of happy that. I want to see players call out coaches. I want to see them be held accountable. It's not a big story to me. Him calling out Matt Canada, if it's true, is just saying, well, we all know that. Every fan knows that he stinks. He's not a good offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to get rid of Matt Canada. So that to me is also a non-story. It doesn't make too much sense. Now, lastly, the DJ and Trubisky locker room fight, which apparently got Mitchell Trubisky off the field and Kenny came in. Fights happen all the time in the locker room, and this one has been blown out of the water completely. Completely, right? DJ has now come out and said that, they've both moved on. They've dealt with the situation. It's all fine. They should be focusing on the next game. And I think as well, the media and the Steelers media, to give the fans the insight, should be focusing on the next game too. But it doesn't really work like that because the clicks and the views, of course, get more attention saying quarterback controversy 2. What did DJ say? What did Matt Canada say? After a while, you kind of get over it. I thought the speculation was in the offseason. Who we're going to trade for, who we're going to cut, who we're going to draft. The time is now to get ready for the Steelers versus Dolphins. The Steelers win a game, and we're not talking about it. It's crazy. Highsmith had a fantastic game. Trey Edmonds had a great game. You know what I mean? They stopped Tom Brady. If I go through some of the stats in this game, Tom Brady was 25 of 40, 243, 1 TD, 2 sacks, and a QBR of 58. And nothing's heard. Because it's more sexier talking about quarterback controversy with Mitchell Trubisky, which he's not. He's going to be, throughout the rest of the season, hopefully just a backup. And he played really well as a backup. As a backup, Trubisky had 9 for 12, 144, 1 TD, 1 sack, QBR of 91. Now, people are going out there and comparing Trubisky to Pickett, which you can't at this stage. Pickett got knocked out. They're saying, well, we wouldn't have won without Trubisky. We may not have. We don't know unless Pickett played the whole game. Pickett went 11 for 18, 67, 1 TD. You can't compare the two because Pickett's only played a handful of quarters, where Trubisky is a 6-year veteran. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Also, in the rush game, the Steelers defense did really well stopping the run. Leonard Fournette had 21 carries, 63 yards, longest of 13. In this game, there was no big plays that opened up the Steelers, and that's how they won the game. If you go to the defense, which no one is talking about Trey Edmonds. He had 10 tackle for a loss. He's such a vital piece to this team, right? Miles Jack played well with 8 tackles. You had, I believe, Loudermilk was in there too, but you had Highsmith. He had 1 tackle, but he had a few sacks too. I think he had 1 sack as well, right? He had 1 sack. And Cameron Hayward stepped up. It's just funny to me how we talk about the quarterback controversy. Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? Are we never not just happy of who we got? Now, I do want to get rid of some players. I'll put my hand up and say, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Matt Canada. I do hope they move on from Matt Canada the end of the season. My wish would be for them to move on this season, but it doesn't make any sense. I hope they move on at the end of the season and find a new offensive coordinator for Kenny Pickett and this offense. I do find it's very stale. But can we just not enjoy the win? Can we not enjoy the win over Tom Brady? Tom Brady's last appearance in Heinz Field will be a loss, and that's fantastic. Yet we're talking about all these different narratives about Matt Canada being called out from Boswell and DJ and Mitch having a fight. It doesn't help anyone, does it? It really doesn't help anyone. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Let me know in the comments below. Are you just overly sick over these narratives? Do you just want to, to me, I just want to talk about the team. I want to talk about the team, what is happening now. And what is happening now is hopefully Najee Harris can start to get back at it. And we've been saying that for the last few weeks, right? We want to see him go out there and perform. We want to see the run game get better because Steelers' run game is still not the best right now. They're only averaging 77 yards a game, or they averaged 77 yards last week. They need to get better. But the Steelers right now are 2-4. 2-4. They're 1 game away from the AFC North. And we're worried about all these other things. Quarterback controversy, Canada, all these things, trading Claypool. It's like, it doesn't overly matter. And I guess my opinion to a certain degree doesn't really matter either. When I say that, because I only want to trade Claypool because I'm not a big fan of him. I want to see other receivers have a better chance to take his spot. And also, if you were to trade Claypool, right now would be the best time, because if you're trading Claypool now, he had a fantastic game. He's on the rise. His stock's on the rise. So get him out while you can. Let someone else take over. Get some draft picks back and move on, right? But it is funny to me how all these things, we had 3 big stories, and also the Kevin Dotson one was horrible. The Kevin Dotson story was horrible. And even that takes over the news space or the media space. And no one's talked about the game. And no one's talking about the upcoming game. All we've talked about is just the controversy, which there is none, and the Matt Canada situation with Boswell. No one talked about Danny Smith walking in the hallways yelling, "That shit's tight, that shit's tight." That was funny to me. This was a team win, and it was a fantastic win for our Steelers. And all the stuff needs to be swept under the rug with DJ and Mitch, and we need to move on. And I also do put a lot of responsibility on the reporters that are in the locker room asking these questions. They could be asking a lot more questions than the narrative types or the stirring up stuff than what they do. We need to find out information about Kazi. We need to find out information about Austin, stuff like that. We need to find out information about DeMarvin Leal's injury, those kind of things. Things that impact the team right now, not stupid stories about DJ and Mitch and did he get benched, and was it DJ's fault that Mitch got taken off field and Kenny came in. They're all nonsensical. It doesn't help anyone, in my opinion. All it does is just create that narrative media spin that goes on and on and on and on and on, and you're never really focusing on the team. Anyways, guys, that was my 2 cents. I went a bit over time, but let me know in the comments below. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let's have a conversation. All right. But other than that, I think it's time to get ready for the Bucks. We already beat the Bucks. It's time to get ready for the Dolphins. It's Kenny versus Tua. That's what's going to happen on Sunday Night Football, 4 days away. And I will be trying to bring up other players along this week and giving them a shout out highlights for what they've done and what they're doing. All right, guys, I'll see you later.